What if I dropped an F bomb? Oh, we need to sync up the. Yep. Yep. So I stop recording. All right. I'm gonna stop this recording track and just let me know when to start again. Okay. Solid. Cool. Hopefully not. So delete this track. Yeah, I should keep it going. Noise. Well, I probably not because I clapped as soon as I heard your clap. All right. All right. Welcome to episode 132. This episode 2, we talk about The World Loses a Hero, DC Fandom Does Not Disappoint, and Anton does some side gigs. I'm Mount Flores. Anton, I know you've kind of restarted your side business, side gig. I don't know what the term is now. Uh, okay. Yeah. Noise. It's fun, right? it's with the it's with the county, right? Not the city. The state. Oh, okay. That should be fun. Uh-huh. Oh, so it's 2 behind their normal schedule, not 2 weeks behind getting your stuff done. Got it. Okay. Officially. Yeah. Which well, I mean, to be fair, our logo, deep dives and rabbit holes, for anyone that doesn't remember beer knots, those logos, that's all you. Our website is all you. Uh, so yeah, I mean, you promoting your business is the whole podcast. So, uh, before I get into my question, I didn't get to share this last week because I didn't have a beer to use with it. But for my birthday, Martha got me those little silver cubes that like for chilling drinks so that it doesn't water it down, stuff like that. It also had, and I sent you a picture right now, these elongated rods with a weird thing at the end. And those are for bottles. So they had a little chiller liquid inside the metal rod, and you slide that into your bottle, and boom, like this. I just sip out of it like normal. No, this for beer. I mean, it could be for one. Yeah, it's a beer set. Beer bliss. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, uh, yeah, the corksicle is the one that actually looks like an icicle, right? They actually try to make it shaped like a little spike. I've seen those like a Total Wine, yeah. No, but I like this one. First time trying it out because I haven't had any beer bottles to use for some time. But no, I like it. I was wondering if how it would flow, but it's nice. All right. Oh, that's the thing too. I always thought that they were just metal cubes, but I shook them and they have like the cooling liquid inside. Same thing like we'd have in the ice packs. Uh-huh. So that's why it just stays colder longer. So I'm like, all right, cool. All right, I thought. So my question was, so since we finished recording last week, um, that's the week I had time off from work, and I just started thinking about like the stuff I'm doing like, as hobbies, kill the time, stuff like that. And I had a question: like, do I have any marketable hobbies? Not skills, hobbies. And I realized I don't because my hobbies mainly pertain us podcasting, which that is not a money bag these days, unless you're already famous or well, pretty much it, um, or video games, which again, that's another thing that gets it's so just I'm not that but you've heard me on game, like, I'm not that social when I'm gaming, I'm very focused, I sometimes forget I'm on a team. Um, so that's when I started like, "Alright, well, what would I like to do?" And everything I thought about came back to do this, I need this skill. And then I'm like, all right, well, what else do I want to do? Oh, to do this other thing, well, I need this skill too. And pretty much, long story short, it all points back to computer design. And that's when I started like looking up like Photoshop and stuff and asked you about like those courses I saw online, stuff like that for Photoshop. I have not purchased it mainly because I had some unexpected expenses thanks to my dentist. Um, but I'm thinking about it. Like it's I don't know. Say I design stickers. It's something I can design and just have on Etsy or something like that, and just have it like ongoing, same design, same stuff like that. Like I don't have to customize them that often. It might not fully subsidize the cost of Photoshop, but at least it'd help out. But still, yeah, it's like what 250 for the year. Yeah, it depends what package you buy. Which I also there's two versions of Photoshop, which I have no idea what's the difference between the two is. No, it's photo. I'll show you. I think one's more about the cloud storage than the other one. Um, but yeah, that's what kind of threw me off. But yeah, so that's my question. And I mean, besides computer design for you, like what other hobbies or skills do you think you'd be able to make a side business with or extra income with besides besides your photoshopping skills? Uh-huh. Oh, well, we've talked about this a while ago too, like years ago. Yeah. Um, let's see. But see, it all comes back to it all comes back to design. Yeah, I thought about that too. I it's a hard market to get into because the market is owned by less than a handful of big companies that, you know, of big umbrella companies that own the different brand names that we know so well. However, yeah, exactly. Kickstarter is another one. Again, that's kind of like catching lightning in a bottle there. But if you do get a good game off the ground, that game can last for years. Like just nonstop. I mean, I'm looking at this tech now. Like Munchkin, that came out in early 2000s and didn't really pick up until what the last 10 years. It's yeah. I mean, Catan, that one's decades, and that one's really picking up steam. I think he eventually sold it to somebody. But yeah, like it's stuff like that. Like it's small, but I mean, it's something that it cannot be your main focus, or at least it's gonna suck if it's your main focus. But if you can do it as a side thing, as a side hobby, it's nice. You know, if it picks up steam, cool. If it doesn't, then you just have fun. The app, right? Oh no no, I was looking at the app. Oh oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. Um, you know what? I did get into. I'm gonna put it in here because I'm not gonna go too far into it, but I'll go into it since you're talking about streaming. I did get into tabletop on YouTube. Will Wheaton's show. Uh, it did, but and it was, I mean, it was fun, and I like the editing. The editing they did was great, just because it wasn't over the top editing, but it also wasn't lazy editing where you kind of the show kind of dragged on. Even against Cards Against Humanity, like in between the times that they were thinking about what cards they wanted to play, they just would throw up like random like altered Cards Against Humanity cards that says nobody wants to see people thinking, stuff like that, or this time is boring, we'll save you time, stuff like that. Um, yeah, stuff like that. And oh, dude, speaking of our last episode, I fell asleep watching tabletop, and I woke up probably like 30 minutes later, and it was an episode with Grant Imahara. I was like, oh, dude, the Dracula one or something, Dracula's Fury. Yeah, I was like, oh, dude, he is. Yeah, there was another one. I think there was like in the desert. I forgot what it was, but yeah, he's been on a couple times, and it was nice to see him like just like that. But it's also like such a hard thing to like oh, that's still too soon. No, you're right. No, that's true. Same thing. It yeah, it's well, you for you that's an option because I was talking to my coworker about this, and she's like, "Well, what about the skills from you doing your podcast?" Because she asked about the podcast, and I explained to her why that is not a money a money pit right now, or it is a money pit right now. And she's like, "Well, what about the editing?" I'm like, "Yeah, at the same time too, it's like it's also skills that I'm confident with. Like it's I can do I'm proficient in editing both video and audio, but it's not something I would be willing to charge people for. Like I don't think I'm that good enough to charge somebody. That might be a confidence thing too, but also realistically, like that's going to cause problems. Yeah. Um, so unless you want me to like bug you every other day. Hey Anton, I lost the file. How do I recover this, dude? Like no, that's the raw file. I want the edited one, the last version I had. Mhm. Yeah. Oh, the Creative Cloud or whatever. Um, yeah, it comes in handy. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Martha about the prices of Photoshop, and she goes, I thought it was a one-time buy." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but then people complained it was too expensive, and then when people did buy it, they would just hold on to it for decades, like years. They wouldn't update their Photoshop or their editing software. They would just anymore. Oh, really? Oh, uh, yeah, and that's what I told her. She's like, "How much was the one-time buy?" I'm like, "It used to be, I think, at least 800, but it keep giving the thousands depending what you got, right?" I'm like, now it's 200, which I'm like, that's about right. Like probably get like significant improvements every 4 years, so that kind of breaks out even. Um, but yeah. Dude, speaking of Micro Center, I drove by Micro Center, and it's funny because I remember Micro Center being out in the middle of nowhere, like nothing being around it. And now it's yeah, and tested, and now it's so developed there. It's neighborhoods. I almost didn't see Micro Center. It's like in a shopping center now. Yeah, but last I saw, I still saw the sign. Yeah, that's a yeah, that's been a lesser competitor to Fry's around here. Fry's definitely took the market. Um, but yeah, it's such a weird thing. Anyways, all right, Anton. So, and that was it for my question. That's kind of what the thought I had the last 2 weeks. Maybe within the next month or so, I'll revisit well, subscribing um, to Adobe, but or to a Photoshop, but we'll see. Um, definitely, I mean, it's definitely something I need. I think if anything, it'll motivate me to start creating things rather than just having and sitting on the software. Yeah. Micro Center still in business? Closed? Yeah. They're so spread out compared to fries. Yeah, everywhere. All right, Anton. Ready into news? All right, Anton. Well, we have to start off our news segment here with some very sad news that we heard about last night. Chat Friday night. Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther, has passed away at the age of 43 from a 4-year battle with colon cancer. Jesus, that was terrible. And apparently he never revealed his diagnosis publicly. Probably just his close family knew about it. But yeah, I mean, some of the during those 4 years, he gave us Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, or played Black Panther in those. The Black Panther movie, and also made his first appearance in Captain America: Civil War. And then he also did other movies. Get On Up, which was part of our summer movie draft a couple years ago, where he played James Brown, and also 42, the Jackie Robinson story. Oh no, that was this year. That was April. He was promote he was promoting Operation 42 or something like that. Yeah, that was this year. I was talking to my friends about that one. Yeah. Well, so and I think this because the fans did react right away. People did not recognize him up until they introduced him. Like if somebody held up the picture and didn't say who he was, they wouldn't recognize him. Um, but his defense was, or his explanation was, his body type is naturally super thin, and he has to work to gain muscle and to gain body weight in general. So for Black Panther, he had to work hard to build that muscle. Like it's not like he had the muscle and had to lose weight. He had to build that muscle. And I think for the most part, fans believed it. Like there was no other news, no other rumors of him being sick, so they just kind of took it at that face value. But then when the news came out of him dying, that was the first thing that news organization started popping up. And then yeah, for the last 2 days, it's been nothing but like old videos of him from the last 4 years. Pretty much like the media and fans trying to piece together the clues that we might have missed. There was one where they were promoting the winter before Black Panther came out. Um, they were doing like the interviews and stuff like that, and it was um, it was him, Lupita Nangiano, and what's the other girl that played Okaye? I forgot her name. But they were sitting doing an interview, and he was talking about exchanging letters between him and 2 kids that were fighting cancer, and how they were hanging on just to see his movie Black Panther coming out, like, a month or 2 later. Uh, and he broke down, like, mid-explanation, he broke down. He just said that he understood what they were going through, but he tried to play it off as, um, trying to hold on to excitement to for somebody to open a Christmas present. But, like, now looking back, you're like, "No, at that time, he was already dealing with colon cancer, and probably, was top of mind for him, and it just hit him hard." It's tough, dude. Spring. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's, like, the least of people's concerns right now. Like, it was a question that came up, but I'm sure that's in least of people's concerns. Um, yeah, it's I mean, positive thing on this, it's kinda sparked a debate for men's health, um, about especially for minorities, Black community. I guess, there was a interview on ABC that they brought in a physician to explain, what signs people should look for, how often they should get checked, and they were saying that traditionally, a guy's 50th birthday is the check mark for when you should get your first colonoscopy, to check for colon cancer. But he was saying that they're seeing more and more in general for guys, colon cancer is happening sooner, but especially in the Black community, for some reason, colon cancer seems to hit at an earlier age for Black men. So now in general, I think the rule is now 45. But if you have any concerns, like there's the 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 symptoms he gave were very vague, and even he had to pause and say, like he said, like, "Oh, if you have any unexpected diarrhea, constipation, upsets, cramping in your stomach, whatever." So, like stuff like that, it's just like, you should get yourself checked out. But then he paused and goes, "Okay, that's not saying that anybody that gets this has colon cancer, but if you feel out of it, or you just don't feel well, like not normal, and you happen to have those symptoms, it doesn't hurt to get checked." Um, yeah, which I'm sure Chadwick's inability to gain weight, if that was something new, might have been with his body just not being able to absorb nutrients or just the treatment that he was going through. Yeah, but especially with minorities, I think he was the first non-white superhero in the Marvel universe, in the MCU at least. Um, Definitely in DC, I think. I can't really think of anybody else in DC that was a major superhero and was not white. But yeah, R.I.P. And there's no easy way to segue out of this, so I'm just gonna go with this one. Nintendo Switch. IGN has reported rumors of Nintendo possibly releasing a new Nintendo Switch quarter 1 of 2021. So early spring, late winter, 2021. It seems like very minor improvements. So improved interactivity and better quality display. So it just seems like they're kind of revising it, just existing, nothing too major, just bigger screen. Yeah, because it's always the same pattern. They release their standard, then they release a light version, and then they release the freaking big ass screen. Same pattern every single time. But ever since I guess the DS, got the DS Lite, and then we got the DS XL. Yeah, especially with the whole quality display thing. I think they are going to try to make it more of a HD, larger experience. Let's see, Anton. So other things that happened actually last weekend was DC Fandom, and we'll go into the TV and movie stuff that we saw for this segment, then we'll go into the other stuff in the gaming segment. First one up, the Batman. We got a teaser trailer, and we got to see the villains. Oh, more of the characters, I should say. So Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Colin Farrell as uh, Fandom. Fandom. Damn it, Anton. Fine, I'm adding an E. There you go. Uh, so the Batman, we got a teaser trailer. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Paul Dano as the Riddler, and Andy Serkis as Alfred. Yeah, the Penguin was probably the most talked about afterwards, mainly because people could not believe that was Colin Farrell. I would not have recognized him. Did you see the teaser? He was in the trailer. He had a lot of prosthetics. Let me see. Yeah, I bet you if he's in the Yep, right, right. It looks like shoot. Uh crap, I can't remember his name now. He was in uh The Walking Dead. Oh my god. Ah, whatever. But yeah, he does not look like him though. It's so weird, right? Uh yeah, right. Like, yeah, you could have told me it was somebody else and I would have believed it. Yeah, I'll be laughing. I'll be laughing when we're thinking about the same. Uh, which which part? Oh, the one that says I have spoken. Okay, I was like, oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The main bad guy season one. Um, yeah, a little bit, a little. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of an age difference there, but yeah, a little bit. But yeah, so that where are they both? Okay, so yeah, that one's one that people talked about for a while. And it was confirmed by the makeup artist. The makeup artist was like kind of taking pride to the prosthetics. Um, and we talked about Paul Dano back when he was first casted, back when we thought it was going to be what's his name, the chubby guy. Yeah, and I'm kind of curious what Andy Serkis is going to bring to the table for Alfred. Usually, Andy Serkis is used for things that have a lot of green screen or a lot of CGI kind of things that they need him to. I don't know, and that's I'm kind of wondering here, like what they're going to do with him. If he just plays straight up just regular character, as I'll be shocked. Let's see here. So yeah, so I mean the Batman, and also side note here, I think they're only like 30% done with the movie. So for them to give this kind of trailer, even if it's a teaser trailer, I was satisfied. I'm like, all right, cool. This is all I need to see. Don't need to give me, yeah, yeah. But like, but I'm pretty sure. I'm like, I wonder how many of these scenes, like, how many of these completed scenes represent what they have on the floor? Like, is this like 90% of what they have done? Like, not the full. Like, it's a lot of clips. I was gonna say it's a lot of clips. It's a lot of different backgrounds and scenes, so you know it's different times of the movie. I was just expecting a better look at his suit, maybe the Batmobile. It's in a video. But yeah, I mean, the first that first scene I saw with the him riding the motorcycle through like the cemetery or whatever, I'm like, oh, I remember that scene. That's the blooper we saw a couple months back of the stuntman falling down in the rain. All right, I thought. So the other thing we got to see here is the Suicide Squad. Uh, why? What was there to talk about him? What? Emo Batman, which just says a lot. Oh, the funny thing is, as a kid, even as a kid, uh, I would say George Clooney's character is probably the most notable one that had it. Uh, it bugged me when you could clearly see his mask was not covering up to the eyelid, like it was probably just like the actual eyeball. And then he'd take off the mask and nothing on his face. I'm like, what? There was makeup there. There was clearly makeup there. So I kind of like that. This is more of a grounded look at the suit. You know, this is what he consciously adds makeup around the eyes to complete the mask. But yeah, I mean, year two. So hopefully no real origin story here. More about him just trying to get the handle of things. And I understand they have to do some reference to his parents. But let's just hope it's not dragged out scenes. Again, how many times do we have to see the pearls hitting the ground? And for the audio listeners, Anton is just shaking his head in disgust. All right, are we good? Can I move on now? All right. So the Suicide Squad. This is going to be the not even remake, I say reattempt at the Suicide Squad with JJ Abrams is directing or just producing? Not JJ, it's freaking A. Oh my God. James Gunn, thank you. I remember the hair. I just remember the weird spiky hair. Uh Sorry, early morning for me. Um so one of the things that I think led to the fail of the first attempt was it was a lot of characters all at once that we weren't too familiar with. Even like unless you were like hardcore into comic books, I don't think you would know them that well. Um, so you didn't really get to build a connection with them before stuff started happening. And when they won, you're kind of like, cool, good for them. In this one, they have way more villains, and I think some of them are way more, or well, are lesser known than some of the ones we had in the first one. I'm kind of scared they're gonna fall into the same pit there. Mhm. So yeah, so we got Rick Flag, which is pretty well known. He's in the background a lot. Bloodsport, Blackguard, Captain Boomerang is back. TDK, Amanda Waller's back. Savant, Peacemaker, Weasel, Polka Dot Man, The Thinker, played by Doctor Who, or former Doctor Who. And there's another one, Solsoria, which I'm not sure what that one's. Same characters. Wait, uh, is it? I mean, everything I think of Mangala, I just think of not Deadpool, Deathstroke. Unless you're thinking of Idris Elba playing Bloodsport. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited, but I'm cautiously excited for this one. Uh, but yeah, I think this one's coming out next summer, allegedly. We'll see though. I'm kind of curious. Okay. Yeah, Black Adam. So this is one that people were asking for a while. I think ever since Shazam came out, when they heard that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, for those that don't know, was supposed to be playing Black Adam and appearing in Shazam, and then he was just removed from the movie to focus more on the character development and origin story. And then he was supposed to be Black Adam in Shazam 2, but something happened where we didn't even know Shazam 2 was going to happen at the time. But now we are getting Black Adam in his own movie. Allegedly, he's not appearing in Shazam 2, but people are hopeful that this might lead to them facing off in Shazam 3 if there is one. Uh, I'm not too familiar with Black Adam. I'll be honest. Everything I know is what's been posted by DC and by Dwayne Johnson on social media. Uh, he calls out again. We don't know much about the story for the movie either. He's calling out the Justice League, but then there's one where he's specific to call the just. He's calling out the Justice Society, which is made of Hawkman, Doctor Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher. I'm wondering if those are going to be the four main ones he's going to be interacting with in this movie, mainly because we know that Adam Smasher is going to be in this movie, being played by what's his name, Noah Centineo. Damn it, I can never get his name right. But yeah, that's all we know. There's no other castings showing so far. This isn't supposed to come out until the end of next year, December 2021. So curious. Definitely a new superhero to get to know, or villain, whatever, anti-hero. Yes. Yeah, I love that how they're doing that, especially because of filming restrictions right now. I think that's very clever. Nice little teasers. It feels very 300. Yeah. Well, it reminds me of I know Josiah from the Comic Syndicate. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was doing it for a while. And there were some other comic book social media accounts that would do it, where they would take the still image and then they would use software to select certain portions of it to move. So if there's a waterfall in the picture, the picture morphs that specific area to make it look like the water's running. That's what it kind of reminding me of, but done better. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what else comes out of this one until because I again, this is kind of a lesser known DC hero, at least in the mainstream. Definitely not one of the Holy Trinity, Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. So yeah, we'll see. All right. Speaking of the Holy Trinity, Wonder Woman 1984, we got a new trailer for her movie. I I don't know. I'm kind of like just stop releasing trailers at this point. There's nothing DC. Well, yeah, but I don't know. If they keep making new trailers, it's either gonna be recycled stuff, or they're just releasing more of the movie, and eventually somebody on Reddit is gonna be posting their a full length, like story from end to end. Not like the full length movie, but we can piece together the story, which has happened for like Game of Thrones or whatever. And then this other bit of news, Anton, that I'm super excited about: Static Shock. Static Shock is in early development for a live action movie. You remember Static Shock? What WB kids back in the day? What's that? What's that look? What's that look? Yeah. Ye yeah, because I remember 'cause, and for people that don't remember this, Static Shock was out around the same time as oh, did I freeze? Okay, I didn't know if my computer froze or if it's just the video that froze on my side. So, Static Shock was out at the same time as Batman Beyond, and there were some crossover episodes, and Static served as the bridge between oh, I'm going to explain. So, there was an episode uh, where where Batman Beyond was trying to find the Justice League or trying to piece together the Justice League. I forgot what it was. Um, and he runs into the older Static, like longer dreads, gray hair, stuff like that. Yeah, and that was it. Like he was the one that's trying to rebuild the Justice League, or he was in charge of the Justice League after it fell apart and stuff like that. So he was the bridge between the old and the new Justice League, similar to Spider-Man was part of well, version Spider-Man was part of the original creation of the original just not Justice League, Avengers. And then there's other versions where he kind of bridged into being the leader of the new Avengers. Um, so yeah, I can see that. But I'm excited. The Static was one of those shows that I loved watching, but I did not know anybody else that watched it. And knowing this excitement of people looking like when they announced this made me feel happy. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Trashland. Yep. Yep. Electrified trash can lid. Uh, to be fair, in again, the show we saw was pretty much his origin story. Later on, he has this deployable disc that he throws on the ground. He's able to fly around. All right, leave Static alone. There you go. I forgot his friend. I know he had a goofy friend too, but anyways. All right, Anton. So that is it for DC fandom or fandom. Uh, anything else for news? Or are we good to move on to streaming? All right. So, these last 2 weeks, I've done a lot of streaming, more than usual. I got to check out Harley Quinn. We talked about it last episode. That I really was curious about checking it out once the DC streaming service ported over to HBO Max. I was hoping to check it out as part of DC fandom or fandom, however you want to say it. They that was one of the first shows that they moved over same weekend. So like, all right, I'll check it out. You know, first I'll check out a couple episodes and then I'll ease into it. I binged it in one weekend, 2 seasons binge. Uh, so needless to say, I loved it. The animation is very I'll say Teen Titans, but like the anime version, not the cartoony one. Um, but with the comedy of Archer. So the kind of like smart ass comments, just like commentary on their own universe kind of thing. Uh, Kaylee Cuoco, I practiced, uh, does a great damn it, but Cookie. Uh, she does a great job of voicing her. I was kind of nervous at first because that first episode, she's wearing the kind of like the Batman the animated series Harley Quinn costume, or like the black red with the hat, yeah, with the with the not jouster, I forgot what it was. Um, but yeah, like that hat, and she was like she would say like whole Mr. J or the whole pudding. Some that was cringy, but then it's I don't know if it was purpose or just over time, like as they were filming episodes, she let it go, and that was perfect. Like that like the voice was awesome. It matched. It was great. Every now and then she would say that, and I'm like, oh crap, she remembered. But that was like more season one. Season two, she doesn't bring that up again. Yeah. So season Jester. There we go. Jester. There you go. Thank you. Um, yeah. So I liked it though because it's even though it's a cartoon, the themes were very adult. It was very self. I think because I was questioning my hobby skills, it kind of hit home because it's kind of like self development, reflection. um, it's yeah. The first season was her pretty much trying to escape out of the Joker's shadow, uh, both in a deep way but also in a joking way, kind of thing. Second season is her discovering herself and fighting her past. So I liked it, and there's a Poison Ivy plays her best friend in this one. King Shark makes an appearance in this one. Uh, Psycho or Doctor Psycho, for what his name was, played by I think Alan Tudyk. I gotta double check that one. Uh, let's see here. No, he plays Clayface. Clayface plays like a kind of over the top um, thespian. He always wants to play a role. Like since he's made of clay, he can morph into any person. So he takes it as an opportunity to show his performance skills. Uh, Lake Bell plays Poison Ivy. Let's see here. Tony Hale plays Doctor Psycho, and and also Diedrich Bader plays Batman. Who he's been doing the voice of Batman for cartoons for a while now. Um, I ridiculous, ridiculously voice, and the funny thing is, like that's just his voice. I the first time I saw him was on the Drew Carey show, and that was just his voice. And I think he was like he was on Office Space. Yeah, that's just him. So it was like perfect casting. So I'm glad that they carried over um, that kind of callback to the other Batman series. But yeah, I dig it, dude. I think you would love it. Definitely a lot of f bombs dropped, a lot of violence. Uh, not for kids, not for Elias. Yeah. Uh, all those times where you see explosions in Gotham as they're fighting it out and gunshots. Yeah, in this one they show people getting hurt. There's a episode where plants took over. I guess since it's Gotham, it's not, but it's supposed to be Central Park. Uh, Plants were just growing and eating people, just stomping around, grabbing people, eating people whole. Yeah, something. But yeah, check it out. Highly recommend that one. Uh, Also checked out The Legend of Korra. Uh, com- I know was it? I know that was what 2014 when this came out. 2013. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought there was not streaming. It was not available on streaming, but it's available now on Netflix, which is why I checked it out. I don't want to hear it, Anton. I don't want to hear it. So, takes place 70 years after the last Airbender. Uh, it's a bit of a time jump, but the more I saw it, yep, yeah. So this takes place after Aang and his friends have pretty much passed away, except for Korra, not Korra, Katara, the Katara that's still alive, but the rest of the gang is pretty much their kids have had kids. They're third generation by this point. Um, no, his he probably plays an uncle or something like that. Because now it's like now it's what's his name is like grandson now. Um, but yeah, so I mean, at first it was kind of weird that they had a time jump because now you're kind of like in the industrial age. It's like the early 1900s technology. But the more I saw it, the more it made sense. Like that they needed that to kind of differentiate between Aang's story and Korra's story. And different problems now. So there's organized crime now. Technology makes is a bit more of a threat against benders, and also there's just an anti sentiment to benders in general. People that don't have the power hate on the people that do. What's different? So kind of comparing the two. Aang's story was more wandering around the world trying to master the elements while also trying to stop a war at the same time. Like he was just trying to put the pieces together as he was scrambling for time, and he wasn't on time clock. Korra was more structured. So the White Lotus tried to find who she was, um, and then they found her as a kid. I think she was like 4 or something like that, and they started training her from an early age to be the Avatar. So she stayed with the Southern Water Tribe, where her masters came to her to teach her. So she's not very patient. She's used to getting things immediately, and she doesn't really understand her own world because she didn't really leave home. Um, it's I want to like this series, but she is such a hard character to get to love, and you're rooting for him. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah. It's. I mean, I guess the other way to see it is, um, when Aang was impatient because he was not perfect. He had his own things because he was a kid. He was 10 years old. When he was impatient, it was to help people. Like I'm trying my best to help people right now. Like I know I need to learn this, but there's no time. With Korra, it's she's the avatar, and she thinks that that is enough for her to get things done. And then people kind of look at her going, no, fuck you, and then they just shock her with a glove. Yeah, and then it's annoying too because she's like, "I want to help you. I want to like, I'm the Avatar. You can't stop me." And then cut to 10 minutes later in the episode when she's crying, saying like, "I never asked to be the Avatar." Like, bitch. Yeah, I'm kind of into it. I mean, right now I'm kind of in the middle of whether I like this series or not. They definitely did a good job with it. Uh, it gets, it gets better. All right. I'm gonna kind of shuffle around here. I'm gonna go to the tax collector. So this is one. This is a movie you we talked about. Yes, it's a great epic story. Kind of like "Where's my car" kind of thing. Dude, where's my car kind of story. Uh, yeah, we talked about this what 2 episodes ago? Last episode, 2 episodes, right? We saw the trailer. You and Carl were super excited about this trailer out of a group of like 3 or 2. So for those that don't remember, a tax collector working for a local crime lord finds his family's safety compromised when a rival of his boss shows up in LA and upends the business. I'm going to be very careful here about what I reference because I hated this movie. Uh, Shia was the most gangster, or was more gangster than the main character, and Martha pointed out saying, "Oh my God, even though his gang name was Creeper, his nickname was Creeper, which like that made me cringe, but the way he talked in Spanish or like said certain things in Spanish sounded gangster, but when the main character said stuff in Spanish." I was like, I'm not one to throw stones in the glass house because I'm kind of a coconut myself, but even I could deliver those lines better. It's I don't know, and I think this also gives credit to Shia as both a writer and an actor. I bet you anything, Shia gave notes about his lines. Like he did his lines, and he says, "Can I try it this way?" Or he would do other things to kind of, I guess, what punch up his lines. because his dialogue compared to some of the other characters is totally night and day. Um, I'll put it this way. There's a scene where also George Lopez was in this movie. I That one was a nice little like nice little Easter egg threw in there. So there's a scene where George Lopez's character was like this badass that has been in the gang for a while. He's OG. He knows how the streets used to be, and before everything got organized. Um, so he's about to go with his OG crew to go kill a guy. And he walks up to his nephew and he says, "Hey, I'm going to go take care of that thing we talked about." And the main character just nods, like, "Cool." That's all that needed to be said, right? That's fine. That they're like at a family gathering. They don't want to make a big deal about it. Fine. Then George Lopez's character goes on to say, "Once I kill blah blah blah, he will no longer be a problem for us." And he's like, "What was the point of him trying to be subtle? Why don't he just come and say, 'Hey, I'm gonna kill what's his face'? Cool. All right, be right back." It's uh, it just shows like there was no consistency in the dialogue. The character development was bad. Character or Yeah, and the character motivations were blah. Like it's some of the things that they made that uh I really want to say more, but I don't want to spoil this. We can talk about it afterwards. If you do check it out, I'll let you know what other things I dislike. But oh, this is cringy. But props to Shia. Shia did a great job. And also, I need to look up if he did this one before Fury or after Fury. But Martha pointed out that the scars that his character has were the ones that he did to himself for Fury. Oh, I didn't notice his teeth though. Uh, well, he said real scars in this one too. So let's. Oh yeah, this is definitely before Fury. So Fury was from 2014. This was filmed in 2019. So yeah, definitely carried over. Oh, and look at that. IMDb has it a 4.7 out of 10, and Metascore is 22. So boom, my hatred is justified. All right, it's on. I'm not gonna go too into high score, but if you, yeah, yeah, he's not brown faced. I think that's what, and that it's not even that. It's his character could easily be because you don't know. They never say his. I don't think they ever say his full name. He just goes by Creeper. Um, but I mean, I know light skinned Mexicans. I know, yeah, yeah, and they just, yeah, and they just, yeah, they just grew up around that dialect. Like it's not like they're using like negative terms, but they pick up that way of talking because that's how their community talks. So yeah, it's just again, I this is something I shared with my girlfriend a while ago. I have a terrible habit of if I'm talking to somebody with an accent, within 5 minutes, with zero intention, zero, subconsciously, I just start mimicking their accent, and I swear, I'm shocked I never got fired at the branch when I worked at the bank. Uh, I because there was one like Australian guy came in and I was having a full on conversation for them for like for five. I mean, it was probably 3 to 5 minutes, but it felt longer because I realized what I was doing and I couldn't stop myself. And as he was walking away, he was like, "Oh, thank you." I was like, "Yeah, no worries." And stuff like just small things like I would catch myself midway and just try to hide it. Yeah, and, it probably doesn't help that I also listen to a paranormal podcast that's hosted by Australians, so I know some of the slang too. Even if he didn't drop it, I know it. Um, yeah, so I can see that somebody that grew up in that area, just that's just the way they talk. Oh, but also, uh, again, I think Shia did so much to develop this character. Uh, some of the dialogue as they're driving around tax collecting, um, is like him talking about like him being on a freaking I don't know, keto diet or something like that. He's doing keto, he's doing yoga, he's doing like all this stuff. Like he's very like he's all gangster in front of it. Like he's like to some of I think the opening scene is him intimidating some like new gangsters, new bloods. Uh and that one of the guys is saying like, "Do you know who he is?" "Yeah, I know who he is." "Who is he?" "I heard he's the devil." And he's like, "Yeah, it could be the devil." Cut to 5 minutes later in the movie. "Yeah, so I'm on a keto diet because you know your body's a temple, man." I was like, "Oh, that has to be Shia that does freaking punching up the dialogue." Yeah. All right, done. So I mean, I'm not gonna go too into it because I haven't finished the first episode. But have you seen High Score yet? I Dude, the first episode hooked me. So for those that don't know, High Score is similar to those other documentaries, say like the toys that made us, the movies that made us. I don't think it's by the same people, but it's the same type of casualness and love for the topic, without as many of the goofy edits, uh, or narration. But it's nicely done, dude. It's less of a deep dive into that world and more of a I heard it described as an essay about the early gaming world. Um, and it goes from like the creation of cartridge gaming to the inevitable thing that we still face in the gaming world today, which is people master really repetitive games really quickly. Um, and it goes into yeah, yeah, King of Kong focused on specifically on King Kong. So this one goes more into the whole gaming world as a whole. So they'll occasionally touch on where we are now, where we were before, and then where we started. Uh, and the mods that they were talking about were made by these MIT students, where they're playing Missile Command. They as a side business to help with their tuition, they bought an arcade cabinet and set it up in their dorm room, and people could come in and play their arcade game. And then little by little, they're like, all right, well, we bought another cabinet, and then these other people in this other dorm building wanted to play too, so they bought more cabinets and they put some in there, and they pretty much made these like dorm room arcades unintentionally. That by their junior year, they had so much money that they just didn't even finish school. I think one was like a semester away from finishing MIT, and he said, "Fuck it, like I'm good. I'm gonna keep doing this." And they talked about how they modified Missile Command to make the missiles more random, faster, and they added some extra colors to the explosions, so it's not just a solid white explosion. It's flashing red. I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I had to stop it because it was getting late last night. They're going into Pac-Man. Pac-Man was one of those that has the ghost had a specific pattern. The map was always the same. So if you can master their patterns, you can pretty much do the same pattern over and over again and keep playing the game. Uh, so they were starting to do a mod for Pac-Man, and that's where Miss Pac-Man came from. But yeah, for like Missile Command, I think they sold like the little like mod kits for $220. And since there were so many arcades at the time that were losing money because they would invest a lot of money into these cabinets, and then eventually, little by little, they made less and less money. That the $220 was worth the investment. That in 1/4 of a fiscal year, they made, I think, 500,000 or almost 500,000. Yeah, yeah, I get it. They made like I'll say 200 to 300,000 in just that time frame, just making mod kits for $220. Yeah, dude. So I think there's like 6 or 8 episodes. I forgot what it was. I want to go into that further, but I'm hooked on it. Smooth. So smooth. All right. and I put Phantom on this one. Uh DC Fandom for gaming. Gotham Knights. This is gonna be an open world game where you are playing as one of the Bat families, either Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood, or Batgirl. And this takes place after Batman has died. What do you think, Anton? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and they did talk about the skill tree. So there is not going to be any leveling up. Like your character is what it is, but you do develop a skill tree throughout the game, and you can go anywhere. Again, I guess it's gonna be like the next gen of, or how what should you expect for the next gen games now, especially because Halo said the same thing, and now they're saying the same thing here that your character is what it is. You can start this open world anywhere you want, go anywhere you want, but you just develop your character with a skill tree over time. And right? So they, I mean, probably can't right away, but so the idea was there. So say you're playing Batgirl or Batwoman for what they're going with on this one. Uh, say you're playing her, you can do multiplayer with another person playing Batwoman or Batgirl, and still be a different gaming experience because you both have different, I almost nearly or completely different skill trees. So I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I mean, because that's me, and I had to ask. I'm like, who's gonna be the basic bitch character in this one? Nightwing or what did I say? Night, Nightwing or Robin? And yeah, I think Robin's gonna be. I don't know. I think Robin's whatever. I think Robin's always gonna be seen as the sidekick. I think Nightwing is gonna be the common one for guys, and Batgirl. I can't wait till they port that over. And then all right, so next one, they also showed Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Uh, Same thing, open world. You're playing as the not open world, but you're playing as the Suicide Squad. And during the trailer, they talked about like same setup about we know Suicide Squad is you have to go do these missions to help yourself get out of Arkham jail or whatever. Um, and then during the trailer, they reveal your target is the Justice League. I don't know about this one. I mean, I can see the character variance working, but yeah. And I forgot to take notes here, but I forgot which one. I think this one takes place in the Arkham the Arkham universe. One of the two. Yeah, I think this one takes place in Arkham universe. I think the Bat family one isn't doesn't. Gotham Knights doesn't take place in that. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm never big on superhero video games, mainly because they always feel so on rails because they want to keep the story the same as the movie or as the story or whatever they want. You don't really get to develop the character, but these two kind of feel like they're actually letting you do your own thing more. Wait, what part? Like them trying typically, but but I think that's why Spider-Man's game was such a success, though. How many movie-based games are hits? Yeah. Insomniac? Yeah. That because that one just uses the the canon to drive the story, and then after that, it's all you. All right, Tom. So I mean, we'll see what comes out from these games. And then finally, I just want to go over this really quickly. So last for my last birthday, I got Gears of War 5, and I didn't play it because I just didn't have time at the time. And then 5, and then this year, as part of deals with Gold or games, free games with Gold or whatever for Xbox, they gave a copy of Gears of War 4. So I'm like, perfect. I can play Gears of War 4 and then make my way up to Gears of War 5. I forgot how bad the mechanics are for these games. I man, yeah, it's hard maneuvering. I think I fell in love with the story and the just the universe that they built, and I do want to delve into. I think I'm going to get more into the novels of these games than I would about the games, because as I'm playing through, I think I was like probably chapter because they go by chapters instead of levels, so chapter 7, and I still feel like I was in a tutorial. And as I'm walking through, I'm realizing I feel nauseous. I really thought I was feeling sick. And it's the damn game. I like the way the camera moves and pans as I'm hiding and popping up to shoot. It's shaking and it's wobbling. It's going like so it moves a lot. Uh so I don't know, dude. I want to finish this game, but it's so hard. I had to take that anti motion sickness medication like when you're like going planes on it. I don't know. I well, no, that's for allergies. It's Dormamine. I don't know what. Germine. Yeah. I don't know, dude. But I just I don't know. Did you play the first Gears of War or first two? Is that how you remember it too? Yeah. Fall Guys. Why does it sound so familiar? Huh? Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I just pulled it up right now. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. And yeah. It's a strategy game. Eh, yeah. Yeah, and to give people a little perspective what the animation looks like, you're pretty much a different colored minion from the movie Minions. Which is probably why you can't tell if somebody's an alien or not. Uh-huh. Mhm. That's that sucks as an afterlife. "Oh my god, I'm dead. Can I go to heaven?" "No, your shift starts now." Yeah. Uh, that's cool. So it's, Android, iOS? Yeah. Oh, okay. That's not yeah, sounds like a good little time killer. Alright, Anton. If people want to keep killing time with us, how can they help us? Nice. People can also follow us on social media at the 2OC on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Occasionally, I do post links on Twitter for certain products we talked about, or just things that I found good deals on that I think our audience might enjoy. Uh, Click those links, buy the item. Doesn't cost you anything extra, and we do get a kickback for that. So it's an easy way to support us while you benefit too. Oh, and I'm sorry. I say, and don't forget us a thumbs up, 5 stars on whatever the platform you're listening to us on to help us out that way too. Sorry, go on. That was cool. Oh yeah, yeah. And you read my mind because I pulled up to see what Gears of War novels there were, and they do have the 5 book series plus like two extra ones that are probably standalone stories. But yeah, check out Gears of War Asphos Fields, which is the first in the series. Yes, I yes I did. I'll pin it to the top of our Twitter. All right. Is that it, Anton? All right. So much reading to do these next 2 weeks. All right. So for the 2OC, I'm Al Flores. See you.